This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any health or lifestyle changes. Welcome to the Happy Healthy Her podcast, your go-to space for real talk, inspiration, and laughter as we navigate life as a woman. Let's dive in.
Hi. Welcome to the Happy Healthy Her podcast, where we empower women to thrive and beyond in midlife. I'm Cynthia Penner, a menopause coach and author of the Menopause Map book series, guiding women through the wonderful, sometimes wild world of menopause. My focus is helping women navigate the season of life with confidence, knowledge, and a whole lot of laughter. I am joined by my two co-hosts and friends, Lorraine and Tracy. Welcome, Lorraine.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to have you here with us today, and I'm glad that we have Amy here. I am Lorraine Keim. I'm an empowerment and mindset wellness coach, empowering women to reconnect with themselves, shift their mindset, and live more authentically.
Welcome. Welcome, Tracy.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here. I'm Tracy Mail. I'm a health empowerment coach. I work with men and women to reduce their chronic pain naturally so they can live their best life. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome.
Yes.
So today we are thrilled to dive into something I know will resonate with so many of you who are navigating stress, pain, and those lingering emotions we sometimes don't even realize we're carrying. Our guest today is an EFT tapping expert and founder of the Soar with Tapping app. Amy Vince, did I say that right, Amy?
It's Vince.
Vince.
Nice.
Sorry.
Vince.
So
that's
Amy has been a dedicated professional in the health and wellness industry for over 20 years and has witnessed profound transformations in her clients and in her own life through tapping. So Amy, welcome to the Happy Healthy Her podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. This is so fun.
Nice.
Awesome. So Amy, your journey into this work is powerful, and I know it will inspire so many of our listeners. Can you start by sharing who you are, the heart behind what you do, and how tapping found its way into your life?
I would love to. Who I am is just a mom and a wife and a person that has always been interested in personal growth. It started a long, long time. I don't even know when it started. I know that it got kicked into high gear when I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 31.
Wow.
And there was no history of breast cancer in my family, so it really kind of came out of left field. But fortunately, I've always had that curious side to me. So when I was asking myself, God, why did this happen? It wasn't like a shaking your fist at God kind of way. It really is, no, really, I truly want to understand why. What is it about me, my diet, my way of thinking, my way of moving through the world that created something like this in my path? So that kind of really started me off going down a path of trying to understand who I am, understand how, I'm mostly biologically the same as this person over here. So what is it? What was the difference between me and this person over here that I got cancer and they didn't? And I started looking for answers, and I found them in a lot of different avenues. I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's definitely has to do with what we put into our bodies. I think it has to do with our thoughts. And I think it has to do with how our trauma and how we show up in the world and our limiting beliefs and our fears. Because when we give our body kind of the right food and the right environment, we can't help but be in a state of health.
Exactly.
So I really started searching for answers, and tapping was one of the things that helped me understand a lot about my own suffering that I had been through as a child and how it affected me in every single way that you can imagine, and what I needed to do in order to release it from my body so that I could be in a state of health again.
No,
Oh.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I know with myself, like, you after you have a diagnosis or something comes, you think back and you're like, oh, I didn't pay attention to that sign or that sign, all the things my body was telling me, right? Until after the fact. Do you have anything that, with your cancer diagnosis, did you think after, it's like, wow, that was probably my body saying something wasn't right, and you just didn't understand at the time?
I didn't. It doesn't,
Okay.
my body likes to whack me over the head with a 2x4 because apparently I don't pay enough attention.
You pay attention
So
now, though, Amy. I suppose.
Yeah.
I do now. Yes.
Yeah.
I recognize that my body is kind of the best litmus test for I need to pay attention to and what I'm avoiding. And
Yeah.
it doesn't let me slide anymore.
No. Well, that's not interesting. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, Lorraine has a comment, but you're in remission now. Things are good.
Yeah, it's been
Not good.
25 years.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I've done a
Good for you.
ton of personal work in order to ensure that it doesn't come back again. I tend to think that it happened for me because I had a lot of limiting beliefs about who I am. I mean, the whole feeling of not worthy or deserving and feeling like there's something wrong with me was massive in my life. And when you have thoughts 24/7, a critical voice going on in your head, it creates a chemical reaction in your body that creates stress hormones. And when you have that consistently over time, it is bound to create some kind of a health issue. So to me, it just makes sense that I need to clean up my thinking. I need to clean up my diet. I need to do all of these things in order to stay healthy. And so I've made it kind of my life's mission to do that for myself, and then hopefully do that for other people as well.
Beautiful. So nice.
Yeah.
Listening to you, Amy, I can't help but think about how many of us started that healing journey because our bodies forced us to act. And in your case, a devastating diagnosis. But for all of us, we at one point or another had something, be it that wake-up call that kind of forces us to reassess, reevaluate, get curious, investigate. We talked about that a lot. And I love that you were just so eager to dive in and really take this beyond the woe is me that all of us would have a right to feel,
Oh, I did feel that for a little while.
Absolutely.
And then I got busy, but I did have that moment of like self-pity, feeling sorry for myself. That lasted about maybe a year and a half through all of the surgeries and all of the treatment. And then I was like, all right, I have to move forward from this.
Yeah, as needed as that is, and it is needed because we need to grieve, and sometimes we grieve during the process.
Yeah.
So it's definitely necessary. But at some point, we do want to take another path or level up or something. So I'm just curious. Tapping is so interesting to me. I know very little about it, and I'm very interested in understanding that. So when you look back and you had all of these avenues, you know that there's so many things out there, so many different modalities of the way that people are healing and finding that relief. And I have just a quick little story that kind of, I hope this is in no way, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful, and I hope you don't take it that way, but we were out with our new puppies and I was petting them and they were very excited and they were just, knocking things down and jumping and all this. And I was tapping their chest, and they calmed right down. And then it made me think of you because this show was coming on, and I was thinking, wow, I wonder if that is kind of equal. So is there something, I don't know, before you actually looked into tapping, was there some reason that tapping came up for you, or that was an interesting thing to research that you nudged that way?
So I met somebody that was very big in tapping today, and he introduced me to tapping, called me up one day. I met him, I was crewing a Tony Robbins event, and he called me like a month later and he said, I found this thing. I'm so excited about it. I want to try it with you. And I think we had like one session, and I think it was moving too slow for him, and he just went off on his own path. But it only took one session for me to recognize the intense power behind this tool. And immediately after that session, I was finding my own coach and going down that road of, getting my own healing in that regard. And I think like maybe a year or less later, I was in a certification program, and took off from there. I didn't start doing it as a full-time career though, until about 7 years ago. I had another crisis moment in my life, as we do, where just everything felt like it was crumbling around me. My job I was failing at my job because I hated it, and I was in pain a lot of the time. And I felt like I was really failing as a mom and a wife and all of these things. And I was having anxiety attacks every day. But that was the moment when I started using tapping a little differently than I had normally. Normally, I was using it on my symptoms that I was experiencing, whether it was procrastination or I have food addiction issues, that type of thing. I was using it on my cravings. Things like that, high level stuff. But in that moment, that didn't feel like enough for me. And so I started kind of intuitively asking myself little deeper questions like, okay, why am I procrastinating? What would be so scary that it's preventing me from actually taking the step towards this goal, whatever it is? And the answer came to me, well, I'm afraid of failing. And I'm like, okay, I can work with that. What would be so bad if I failed at this? Like what is going to, happen that it's going to make me want to not move forward on this? And the answer came to me immediately, and that it was going to prove my deepest fear, which is that I'm not worthy or deserving, and there's something wrong with me. So all of these symptoms that I had been focusing on with tapping, it would help in a moment, but the symptom wouldn't go away. So I started focusing my tapping on that root cause, that feeling of not being worthy or deserving, that feeling like all the time that there's something wrong with me that was stopping me dead in my tracks from moving forward. And that's the moment when it's like the sky opened up, and all of a sudden I saw that the sky was blue for the first time.
Wow.
Because I had been looking at the world with that lens over my eyes the entire time. And to have that removed, even just the first layer of it, because there's many layers to a really deep fear like that, but having that first layer removed was like, oh my God, I have to share this with people because it was such a profound change for me. And it like changed the whole trajectory of my life and my focus on tapping. Tapping had been in the background and a tool that I used for myself and for friends and family. And all of a sudden it became front and center, and I couldn't move through life only holding this in my own hand anymore. I needed to give it to other people.
It's like that first layer is like the protective layer.
Yeah.
And once you can break through that one, then you can move through them much easier. And it's amazing that the hardest seasons lead us to the most transformative tools, right?
I know, it's always our own suffering, right?
Yes,
Damn it.
Yeah, and especially when you get to the point where you can
Wish
see
you didn't
like,
take that, but there it is.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about why tapping works
Okay.
and the way it does and why it's different from so many other approaches. Because for those hearing about EFT for the very first time, for me, coming from a banking background, EFT is electronic funds transfer. So when
I
I saw
know.
this, I'm like, we're talking about banking? No. So maybe they've tried it, but don't fully understand the science. Can you break down what makes this method so unique and effective?
Yes. I do want to start off with a high level look at what's unique about tapping,
Okay.
because I think this is an area that our society has not traditionally encouraged us to embrace, because this is all about emotional health. And we're just getting to the point where we're kind of having an emotional revolution where people are recognizing the importance of engaging in and processing trauma and big emotions, big uncomfortable emotions, that sort of thing. We all agree that physical health is an important thing to pay attention to. We all agree that even spiritual health is an important thing to pay attention to. And intellectual health. I mean, we go to school for years to and talk about how that it's important to continue learning for brain health and stuff. Now we're getting to the point where we're recognizing that emotional health plays a really big role too, that is at the core of a lot of different things, and that there is an emotional element to physical pain. There's an emotional element to our spiritual connection, and same with our intellectual ability to learn. It crosses all of those fields and can either hinder or help. So now we get to tapping itself. And tapping is a really powerful combination of three different modalities. It's a kind of a triple threat. So it incorporates energy therapy found in acupuncture, in that it utilizes the 14 energy meridians that are found in Chinese medicine. But instead of using needles on our acupressure points, we're using the percussion of tapping.
Okay.
In acupuncture and Chinese medicine, the idea is that whenever you have a pain or a fear or a limiting belief, there is a blockage in our energy system, and the needles or the percussion will help break apart that blockage and allow our energy to flow again. Because when it's flowing, we're in a state of health or healing.
Yes.
It also incorporates the cognitive therapy aspect, because you are actively talking about what it is that you want to release while you are tapping on your energy meridians. So that's a really important aspect too. And then the third therapy is somatic therapy, because you are tapping on your body. You can't help but kind of gather your energy from worrying about the past or catastrophizing about the future, and bringing it into a really grounded present state in your body. And so that is where you are your most powerful, most effective version of yourself, is when you are only in the present moment. So it's a combination of all those three things. What's happening on a scientific level, when we get triggered in some way, shape, or form, our amygdala, the stress center of our brain, gets activated, and it rushes our body with cortisol.
Yes.
99% of the time, we don't know that we've been triggered. We don't know that that's been activated. We're just kind of this anxious, stressed out state has become really normalized, especially in America, where we just think that it's kind of a badge of honor even to be stressed. That means that we're needed. That means that we're busy. And those are the things that we have valued, at least in America. I know you guys are in Canada, but
No,
I'm
it's
sure
same.
you experience some of that
It's
too.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's universal.
Yeah.
So what tapping is doing in those moments is it is continually telling our amygdala to de-escalate, 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 de-escalate. It's okay to feel safe and calm in this moment. Everything is fine. So you're talking about what you want to release. You're breaking up energy blockages, and you're telling your amygdala, it's okay. It's okay to feel peace in this moment. And it is a really safe container for big emotions to be processed without feeling that intense effect of it. And it is extremely fast because it utilizes all three of those things. So something that could take years in traditional talk therapy, you can whittle that down to weeks or months, depending on how quickly,
Oh, cool.
how much effort you give it. Just like anything else, it's still work. There are 1 minute wonders where people heal from something once they, have an emotional awareness of its connection. But the majority of the time, it's just work. But it's work that we're not used to, which is why it feels so challenging at times. We're not used to allowing really big rage. We're not used to allowing really intense betrayal or hurt. We just stuff those things down and we pretend like it doesn't exist, that it's not real, and we slap happy feelings on top of it and buckle up and move through our day. And the truth is, those emotions don't go anywhere until we move through them. And it takes kind of being willing to go down that path to see how wonderful it is on the other side. The relief and the added perspective, the brownness and the fullness of the perspective, being able to take an event or a feeling from one moment all the way through is really rewarding in a way that if for somebody that hasn't experienced it, I couldn't explain it fully.
No, I was having a conversation with my 12-year-old granddaughter, and there was this situation where she needed to deal with me. She's like, no, I don't want to make waves. And as soon as she said it, it was like, okay, I'm a middle child, so of 3 girls. So, and I said, no, 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 no. I said, the problem with that is when you need to say something, but you don't say something, it doesn't just go nowhere. It's
Right.
like you have a chest in your soul, and that goes in there and the lid gets shut. But over years, eventually it is so full. And then her younger sister said, it explodes. I'm like,
And it does.
yes, it does. And so
Yeah.
that trap trauma, that trying to not make waves, that trying to, as women, do everything, be everything, don't complain. Like you said, the North America mindset of if you're stressed, you're worthy or you're worth something. But the toll on your body, like you're saying, like that it is good in and good out, right? Like what you eat, what you think, how you sleep, how you move, right? Like
Yeah.
I've never heard of tapping before. So I'm hanging on every word. And it's for me I'm a list person. I'm organized.
Mm-hmm.
So when I try to meditate, my mind is like bing, 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 right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
listening to you, it's focused. It's like I can't wait for you to to show us how to do this.
Give you
So,
a sample? Yeah.
absolutely. But I think Lorraine had a comment first.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was fantastic. I love that practical way that you explain tapping so people can kind of understand it, this kind of 1, 2, 3, or triangle, however you want to do that. And that's so fantastic, because I have heard of tapping, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it meant, other than obviously you could figure out, okay, you're tapping, but I didn't really get that it was the meridian points and the energy blocking, and how important it is to speak out loud, especially. And I love that you brought in the East versus West, or the American, because we do have a problem in Western medicine or Westernized culture of not knowing how to deal with emotion, how to process our feelings, and even how to have others do it. I mean, just think of how awkward people get when other people are emoting, and it has gotten to that point where now people are being extreme with their emotions to be heard, because of the silence for so long in this country of just listening and understanding and processing and communicating with each other about it. And we're not taught that way.
No.
Young parents, don't usually teach their children how to be angry, how to be sad, how to be upset, how to be frustrated. And we see it all of the time. I recently worked in a space where parents would bring in their children, and I saw this on a daily basis. The parents are just, they don't know. They're completely clueless because nobody taught them how to teach their children. And you would see these kids, their frustration was instantaneous when they didn't get their way. Their anger was hitting, breaking, throwing, and the parents were just beside themselves. And so it's gotten to this point where we don't know what we don't know, I guess. And
Yeah.
we're teaching that to the next generation. And it's going in the wrong direction, my humble opinion. We're not getting closer to understanding. We're not getting closer to learning, closer to processing. We're getting further away and more disconnected with how to process and understand and be curious. And that also goes into the physical side. My comment was going to be about how people hold their trauma and their emotionality and their grief and their anger in their physical body. That causes their shoulders, like shoulder pains and the headaches that we get. I get migraines constantly, and all of these different things, because that mind-body connection is so important. We've talked about that a lot here in this program. And so I love that you've kind of joined that tapping with our physical body, joins with that cognitive thinking about, our problems and investigating, but also those emotions, that somatic. And it's a lovely blend, trifecta. And so I just love that. So talking about that, what do you suggest women do after tapping that might heal what comes up? Because you're going through this process, and obviously you're doing all this, but is there an after you've done that? I'm trying to imagine having all of these emotions come up, having all of these answers coming up, having all of this body change, mind shift, and everything happening, and then you've done a session. Now, is there like a next step? Is there a way to like either continue the healing or rest? Or I wonder if there's an after.
And to kind of hold space for all of the emotional healing that happens. Yeah. I totally understand your question. And so I'm just going to tell you how one of my sessions goes, either when I'm working with my coach or when I'm working with my clients. We pick a topic at the beginning of the session, and what we usually do is give it a rating from 0 to 10, because it's really hard to kind of evaluate your emotional healing, right? It's such a subjective thing to kind of give a scale to. But we say, how intense is this emotion? If we're dealing with like a betrayal of some kind, how intense is that betrayal? You might say it's like a 9 or a 10, or you can even say it's off the charts. I feel it everywhere. Like it's just taking over my body.
Yeah.
So then we tap, 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 tap. We honor and acknowledge those feelings over and over again. And we get down to a 0, hopefully in one session. And when you get to a 0, it's just not there anymore, like it never existed, kind of there. So if you get yourself down to a 0, there isn't much to process beyond that point, other than if you just want to continue, because this is an act of self-care, also continue the self-care by, sitting with yourself and evaluating, are there any lingering feelings around this? Yeah, it's just done.
Oh,
That's the amazing part about it. I will say that if you have a traumatic event, think of it like a table, And all of the legs underneath the table are all of the different emotions that you have around that event. And there might be 20 legs underneath that table. And you've got to neutralize or break off each one of the legs before the table can collapse. So there might be lingering emotions. Maybe it's a sense of real sadness that somebody would treat you this way. Maybe it's a sense of grief over losing that relationship because of this big betrayal. Like all of those emotions need to be addressed. So the likelihood that there's still more to do is always there. And more than what I want to say too is that when you do this tapping, because you are, telling your amygdala, it's okay to feel calm about this. It's okay to relax about this. What I forgot to mention is that it reduces cortisol in your body 43% faster than if you had done nothing else. It lowers your heart rate. It lowers your blood pressure. It increases your immune system response, and it increases your happiness by like 31%. It's really amazing how quickly it does these things. So you can finish a session, even if everything isn't completely neutralized, you can finish it feeling really relaxed, really calm, especially for people who haven't engaged with their emotions on a regular basis. It can feel like they're exhausted, but that's because their state of anxiety has been normalized to the point where that is what they run on. They run on cortisol. And when their cortisol is lowered so much during the tapping session, then it feels like I'm exhausted. I have to lay down. Right. So rest is, just encouraged to support wherever you are. Some people feel elated, at the end. It's kind of a mixed bag, the responses that people have. When you first start tapping, I would say exhaustion is the biggest thing that you might experience. And that's because your body's just like, okay, now you need to rest after all that. But for the most part, it feels good. It feels really good and surprisingly clear of things that you need to hold space for.
Great. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Very good. I have a question about that. I know you talked about, well, we know tapping is acupuncture. Maybe my question is because I don't understand acupuncture well enough. I don't know. We'll find out. Does it matter? Like, I know you can tap here, you can tap here, you can tap here. Or does each spot if you have anxiety, you should do it here. If you have stress, you should do it, or whatever, right?
Yes.
You have a blockage. Is there a certain point for a specific issue? And should you do it? Sorry, I'm going to ramble a bit more. Should it go more? Like, should you do it like 20 times or just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or does it matter at all? Yes,
very good question. The answer is
Thanks.
yes. Each energy meridian corresponds to different organs in the body and different kind of, I'm going to say, emotional strains.
Okay.
So like anger and resentment, you know how like right next to your shoulder blades and up on top of your shoulders, that's like anger and resentment energy meridian. And then bladder and kidneys are on the fear meridian, that sort of thing. So they all correspond to something different. It's a little complicated to just try and focus on the one spot that you think is only associated with that feeling or that organ. So with the tapping that I do, we tap on all 14 energy meridians. So we're covering all of our bases, whether we're holding that emotional feeling in our heart or we're holding it in our hips or in our uterus or, anything along those. We are covering our bases because we're tapping on all the things. We're here, we're giving it the effort, we're going to do all the things possible, which for me means tapping on both sides of my body. A lot of tapping practitioners will just do one side of their body. And I'm like, I'm doing it all. I'm going to,
Been
I
doing
want
it
as
right.
much bang for my buck as I can possibly get. So I'm tapping on both
Yes.
sides of my body and I tap on all 14 energy meridians.
Okay.
Yeah, some people, and there are different spots. Some people like to do like there's
Yeah.
finger points that people do. I don't bother with those. That's not really how I learned anyway. But I will encourage people to, if they're tapping on a certain spot and it just feels better than others, you can linger there for a while. You don't have to be on the exact same spot that I am in order for it to be effective. You can
Right.
catch up to me, but I would say stay there. Stay there as long as it feels good and advance to the next spot when you want to, because you can't get tapping wrong. And
Okay.
you're undoubtedly going to experience some kind of benefit no matter what you do.
So that's kind of my follow. Sorry. So if you're on your collarbone, what if you're here or if you're up here? Does it matter? Is it just
It
tapping?
does.
Okay,
It
that's why I'm
does.
like, I don't know if I'm in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is one of the only area that I ever encourage people to be a little perfectionist, because
Okay.
if the tapping point is like right at the beginning of your eyebrow, and if you're somewhere up in the middle of your forehead, not nearly as effective. So you
Right.
have to be, right on the spot in order to experience
Okay.
the full scope of the effectiveness for this.
Cool.
So do you guys want to go through the points? Do you want to like
Yep.
try a sample session?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love it if you
Absolutely.
could walk us through how someone brand new like me
Okay. Yes.
and the ladies
Yes.
looks like. So maybe a simple step by step we could
Oh,
try.
I'd love to.
Oh, this would be awesome. I'm so
Hang on
excited.
for 1 second. I have to turn my heater off. I'm like sweating.
Oh my God. Yes, yes.
She shed is outside, so it was a little chilly, but
No.
now not anymore. Okay. So we mentioned picking a topic.
Yes.
That's the place that you want to start. And it is always beneficial to try and narrow it down as much as possible. I'm going to pick anxiety just because that's something that most people struggle with. And it's just easier. And it's a really big umbrella. And so the tapping that we do today would be like, if you're in the middle of your day and you just need a Band-Aid to put it over yourself so that you can get through the rest of your day without gushing anxiety blood all over the place. This isn't going to stop you from having anxiety, but it is going to enable you to move through the moment and get to a more effective and efficient version of yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you ladies for a rating 0 to 10. Where would you say your anxiety level is at this moment? And you can kind of close your eyes and kind of sink down into your body and see where you feel it. And just intuitively say where you are 0 to 10 with anxiety right now.
7.
Okay.
I would say I'm a 7.
About 6. I feel 6.
About 4.
4. And Cynthia, how do you know you're at a 7?
Because when you said that, that was the first number that came to mind.
Okay,
So I'm
perfect.
surprised it's so low, actually.
Okay.
Lorraine and Tracy know what's going on behind the scenes, so I'm actually surprised it's a low 7.
Okay. What about you, Lorraine? How do you know it's a 4?
Same as Cindy, it was the first one that popped in my mind, but I just recently stopped my job, so I'm in a much better place. So I've been relaxing all week and working on my business, and so I'm feeling pretty good.
Good for you. Nice. Okay. What
Yes.
about you, Tracy?
Yeah, I thought about it. I felt it in my butt. I can feel it. I usually have high anxiety, but I feel pretty calm. I'm really enjoying this conversation. I was really looking forward to this. So yeah,
Okay.
I can feel it in my chest, but it's definitely not a 10 out of 10 by any stretch, but 6 is a
Okay,
good.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go through the tapping points then, so you guys know exactly where to tap. The first one is down from our pinky finger. This is called the karate chop point. So I like to tap those 2 spots together. And this is where we say an even though statement or a setup phrase, something like, even though I have this really intense anxiety, I love and honor all my thoughts and feelings about it anyway. And so we say that 3 times, and then we're going to go to what's called repeater phrases, and I'll go through all of the points so that when we do our actual round, it'll be easy for you guys to know where I'm tapping. So the
Those
first, as
10
we mentioned
phrases
before,
are different 10 different phrases, or you say the same phrase 10 times?
I like to say different phrases,
Okay.
but if it's something intense, like anxiety, and you don't know what to say, I wouldn't let that stop you. And you can just say, all this anxiety, it's overwhelming, all this anxiety. You can, you don't need to be a poet in order to make this happen. Just say what you need to say. I think it's more helpful if you honor and acknowledge as many aspects of it as you can. So first spot is right here at the beginning of your eyebrow points. I like to tap with 2 fingers just to make sure that I am covering the actual spot. And I'm tapping hard enough so that I feel it, not so hard that it's going to give me a headache. Lorraine, you need to be more towards your nose, right at the beginning of your eyebrow. There you go.
Oh, I guess my eyebrows are a little far apart, so.
No, you're right there. I could see the beginning of your eyebrows, and I shouldn't be able to see it.
Okay.
Okay. And then on the side of your eye, right at your temple, that's the next spot. And then under your eye, right on top of your cheekbones, under your nose, under your mouth. The next spot is called the collarbone point. So find the beginning of your collarbones. You're going to go down about 1 inch. There's a little valley in between your ribs and your collarbones on either side of your sternum. And you're going to tap in that little valley right there. And then the next one is underneath your arms. So for women, that's right where your bra strap is.
Okay.
I'm in the wrong spot, right there.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
there.
3 to 4 inches down. I like to hug myself. You can
Oh.
do it on one side or the other. It doesn't really matter, whatever's easiest for you. The next spot is underneath your breast, like right on your ribs. So it's like right underneath your underwire of your bra, right in that spot. And then there are 3 acupressure points, one on the outside of the wrist, the middle, and the outside. So when I'm tapping my wrists together, I'm turning them like that. My coach likes to tap like this, so she's getting it with all of her fingers that way. So whatever is easiest for you. I like to do that.
I like that too.
It feels better, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I like that.
The last one is up on top of your head. Okay. So when we're doing the repeater phrases, I'm just going to say a phrase. I'm going to say something, and you guys are going to repeat after me. And then we move to the next spot. And you want to do it out loud, because that releasing those words from your body is surprisingly cathartic. That's probably the biggest comment I get from my clients is, wow, that felt so good to actually say those words out loud instead of just having them spinning in their head all the time. Okay.
Perfect.
So we're working on anxiety. So start on your karate chop point. You guys are just going to repeat after me. Even though I'm having all this anxiety in my body right now.
Even
Even though I'm having all this anxiety in my body right now.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
Or for a million reasons.
Or
for a million reasons.
I love and honor all my thoughts and feelings about this.
I love
and honor all my thoughts and feelings about this.
Even though I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety in my body right now.
Even though
I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety in my body right now.
I maybe my heart is racing.
Maybe my heart is racing.
Maybe there's a part of me that just doesn't feel safe.
Maybe there's a part
of me that just doesn't feel safe.
And it feels scary to engage with those feelings.
And it feels scary to engage with those feelings.
And I love and honor all parts of who I am anyway.
And I love and honor all parts of who I am anyway.
Even though I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety right now.
even though I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety right now.
And this is a pretty normal state for me.
And this is a pretty normal state for me.
I always feel like I'm under pressure.
I always feel like I'm under pressure.
I always feel like I need to prove myself or do more.
Always feel like I need to prove myself and do more.
And it fills me with anxiety.
And it
Fills me with anxiety.
And I love and honor myself anyway.
Love and honor myself anyway.
And I honor my courage in tackling this issue.
I honor my courage in tackling this issue.
Okay, up on your eyebrow point. All this anxiety in my body.
All this anxiety in my body.
I don't know what triggered me.
I don't know what triggered me.
Maybe it's just my everyday life.
Maybe it's just my everyday life.
Everyday life.
I'm always so busy.
I'm always so busy.
There's always so many things on my to-do list.
There's always so many things on my to-do list.
Sorry, ladies, you need to be moving around the points when you finish a statement.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was still doing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I was
okay.
too. Yeah, we all do the
I
same.
didn't make that clear. And it's really hard to do all of these things.
And it's really hard to do all of these
things.
It feels overwhelming a lot of the time.
It feels
overwhelming a lot of the times.
And there's a part of me that feels like I can't slow down.
And there's a part of
me that feels like I can't slow down.
That it's not safe for me to slow down.
It's not safe for me to slow down.
It's not safe for me to let off the gas.
It's not safe for me to let off the gas.
There's too many things at stake.
There's too many things at stake
for me to do anything like relaxing right now.
do anything
like relaxing right now.
And I just want to honor that at the deepest level.
And I just want to honor that
at the deepest level.
I was never encouraged to find a lot of balance in my life.
I was never encouraged to find a lot of balance in my life.
And even though I teach my clients about how to find health.
And even though
I teach my clients how to find health
in a lot of different areas of their life.
In a lot of
different areas in their life.
I am not a great example of having balance.
I'm not a great example of having balance.
I care for a lot of others.
I care for a lot of others.
And I'm usually last on the list, if I'm there at all.
And I'm usually last
on the list, if I'm there at all.
Which gives me a lot of anxiety.
Which gives me a lot of anxiety.
Because I'm not prioritizing my own health.
Because I'm not
prioritizing my own health.
Emotionally, it's hard to let go of this idea that I have to do all these things.
Emotionally
it's hard to let go of this idea.
Do all of these things.
It doesn't feel safe to let it go.
It doesn't feel safe to let it go.
There's something about balance that feels really unsafe.
There's something
about balance that feels really unsafe.
Maybe I'm worried about people judging me.
Maybe I'm worried about people judging me.
Maybe they only know this one side of me.
Maybe they only know this one side of me.
And they have a lot of expectations about me showing up that way.
And they have
a lot of expectations about me showing up that way.
Maybe I have a lot of expectations about what I'm supposed to do.
Maybe I have a lot of expectations about what I'm supposed to do.
And it's really hard to step outside of that comfort zone.
It's
And it's
really hard
to step
to step
outside of
outside of that comfort zone.
It's really hard to do things differently.
It's really hard to do things differently.
Differently.
It's hard to give myself a break.
It's hard to give
Hard
myself
to give myself a break.
It's hard to say no.
It's hard to say no.
Say no.
And it's really hard to take care of myself.
It's really
It's
hard to
really
take
hard to take care of myself.
So it's no wonder I'm anxious.
It's no wonder I'm anxious.
wonder I'm anxious.
It's no wonder that's my normal state.
It's no
No
wonder
wonder
it's my
that
normal
that's my
state.
normal state.
And I just want to honor that at the deepest level.
And I just want to honor that
at the deepest level.
It's hard being a woman.
It's
It's hard being a woman.
So many expectations.
So many expectations.
And it seems like the list never ends.
And it seems like the list
never ends.
And I deeply honor how scary it feels.
And I deeply honor
how scary it feels.
To question my role that I've always had.
To question my role
that I've always had.
And be willing to do things differently.
And
be willing to do things differently.
Maybe it's okay to feel safe and calm in my body right now.
Maybe
it's okay to feel safe and calm in my body right now.
Maybe in this moment, there actually is no threat around me.
Maybe in this moment, there
is no real threat
around
me right now.
Maybe I can sink into the idea that I am safe in this moment.
Maybe I can sink into the idea I am safe in this moment.
In this moment.
That my body is safe.
That my body is safe.
My reputation is safe.
My reputation is safe.
And I can honor all the parts of who I am.
And I can honor all of the parts of who I am.
Especially the part that works so hard.
Especially the part that works so hard.
And I can give myself some space to do things a little differently today.
And I can give myself some space to do things a little differently today.
Maybe pat myself on the back.
Pat myself on the back.
Maybe give myself a nice hug.
Maybe give myself a nice hug.
And remember that I am doing my best at all times.
And remember that I am doing my best at all times.
And I deeply honor all parts of who I am.
And I
deeply honor all parts of who I am.
Okay, nice deep breath. Okay, keeping your eyes closed. I want you to sink back down into your body and give me a rating from 0 to 10, Cynthia. Where are you? You were at a 7. Where are you now?
Feel like I'm at a 2.
Oh, that's a big drop. What's left in that 2?
My dog barking in the background.
Okay, what about you, Lorraine?
I think I'm good. I think I'm at a 0.
Nice. What about you, Tracy?
Yeah, I think the same. I got nothing left. That feeling I had here is gone. So it's very
that's
calm.
so wonderful.
That deep breath was so it's lovely.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you guys.
Yes,
We don't do that.
Yeah.
So if you were finish that at a 2, or even if you only went down to a 5 or 4 after that round, you just keep tapping, keep honoring and acknowledging the anxious part of you. I did a lot of positive statements in there, but mostly anxiety just tends to be about not feeling safe in some way, shape, or form. So something feels dangerous, something feels like a threat. And so honoring and acknowledging that over and over again. What I want to really tell your listeners too is that a lot of people think because we're focusing on the negative so much that this is a kind of a toxic practice. And I assure you it is not. Those feelings are already there. We're just giving them a voice, and it's allowing us to release it from our body. That's what we want. We want to release it. We're honoring it and acknowledging it over and over again so that it has its day in court. And then it finally is able to let go, right? That's when we know we have processed the emotion fully. So focus on whatever it is you're trying to release all the way down to like till you get to a number 3 or 4 in general. And that's when you can start infusing really positive things without your mind and your body going, that's not true, or trying to just fix something really quickly because it's uncomfortable to focus in on the anxiety part of it. So give it its day in court. Don't worry about, feeling like it's going to make things worse. It's not. It's not. It's always going to make you feel better. And yeah, you just talk about it over and over again. Keep going around and around and around until you feel a shift. And then you kind of reevaluate. And if there's more to do, start again. That's how it goes.
A great thing to note here is, as we were talking, like, I have a best friend that I share everything with. We have these beautiful conversations, but I felt differently with the tapping. Like when you're speaking, right? Like even though this and the
Yeah.
positive affirmations, because you're tapping, you're releasing energy. Like I'm just stepping into the concept of auras, transcendence of energy release. Like
Mhm.
Lorraine and I had a couple of conversations this week about it, and I felt like on a few of those affirmations, like a few of the, see, now I'm going to get emotional, but a few of the parts where we were tapping, I felt this energy, this trapped come out, and it was hard to, and I think that was more beneficial than just, as lovely conversations are amazing, but when you're releasing the tapped energy, it to me it felt like the flow, like just the light, just the whoosh of the energy going out, and then you're leaving that space empty. Like when you're
Yeah.
saying, like when you're going to a 2 with anxiety, it didn't change that your rent is due or your mortgage is due, or there's henpecking at your job because there's too many females being goofy, or it doesn't change any of that. It changed
No.
you. It changed the energy, the viewpoint, that was beautiful. Like, thank you, Amy. That was,
You said that beautifully, though, too. That was a really great way to sum up what it does. It changes you.
it
It
does.
doesn't change your
Now
environment.
I'm
No, none
emotional.
of the circumstances have changed. It's
Oh,
all still there, but the overwhelm around it is gone. You're a much centered, better version of yourself in the moment and much better able to make choices
mm-hmm.
and, do things a little differently if you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It changes the energy you put on that specific thing. All right. So that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks.
And isn't that all what we're trying to do? None of us are claiming that we're going to cure anything, or that if you eat this one food, everything will be better, or if you do this one movement, or if you take this one supplement, or if if I hypnotize you and you get relaxed, that all will be, great with the world. All of us are trying to help to guide the person into having a different state so that they can take on what is in their environment, what it is. Us being in a different state is the goal, is the purpose. for us to be empowered, stronger,
Yeah.
relaxed, less cortisol, you know, more energy, you know, all
Yeah.
of that. And so it's lovely. It's lovely that it works that way.
And we are all capable of that in this moment without all of our fears and limiting beliefs about who we are. So if, you know, we continually work to get to that state, and it's not about, you know, when I first started this, I thought tapping was going to rid me of my character defects. I thought it was going to transform that part of me that I call lazy, or it was going to transform the part of me that I don't know, you name it, doesn't matter.
Reactive females.
Yes, yes. That was I was constantly being kind of given the label of oversensitive or something along those lines. And it didn't change any of those things. I had pushed those parts of me outside of myself, thinking that I needed to keep them at bay as much as possible and be ever diligent to keep those shadows as far away from me as possible. And what tapping did was that gave me compassion for those parts of myself, so that because I finally understood why they came into practice all of the time. And all of a sudden I was able to kind of bring it back and fill in that hole, and take that part back and fill in that hole, and become a whole version of myself again, where before I was like Swiss cheese, like just pushing I'm going to say ugly character defects or traits of myself. I was just pushing them as far away from me as possible. They never went anywhere. I was just mad at them all the time. But bringing them in and understanding why and how they exist and who I am and how I show up in the world was really the key that transformed me out of depression. And I'm not saying I never get anxious anymore, because I do, but I like have gotten rid of like 80% of my anxiety.
Nice.
And, you know, I love doing this work. It's so much different than I thought it would be in the beginning. And it's given me an emotional muscle that I've never had before, that I think everybody now needs, because we've avoided it for so long. That emotional muscle is atrophied in most of us. And until we get the courage to actually engage with uncomfortable emotions, because none of them are negative, none of them are bad, they're all clues about something that we need to pay attention to. And when we lean into them and actually engage with them and allow ourselves to process through them, then we come to the table as a much more whole version of ourselves.
You just described
Love
the
that.
icon photo behind you, because if when it comes and you lean into it, it flies out. You're not
Yes.
storing it in here anymore. You're working your way through it, and then the birds are just
Yep.
right. So in that moment, you're clearing out that space, you're cleaning it, you're making it clean, and out it goes.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
beautiful. It's
So
beautiful.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
lovely, Amy. That reminds me, there's a practice in hypnotherapy. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and it's called soul integration.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about what you were saying, how you suppress, and they call it your shadow self. So it's interesting that you used shadows. So in a way, that is what we're trying to do. There are no bad or negative parts of ourselves. We are trying to integrate those things into our complete wholeness, our soul. And we're just trying to flip the story that we tell ourselves about those parts. Instead of saying, to use your word, lazy, we're going to say, I'm relaxed, I'm thoughtful. This gives me pause. This gives me time to put my best foot forward, or to consider all of my options, and things like that. And so all of those parts of ourselves that we at some point in our lives tried to suppress and ignore and change and just had a bad relationship with. We are trying to reintegrate those parts of ourselves and understand that they're all there for a reason. These are all tools that we have been given throughout our lives, and we just didn't understand them. And so now we want to understand how to use these tools for our benefit and for our protection and our safety. So that was lovely that you said that.
Yeah. And there are coping mechanisms too. And so when they arise all the time, to me, that's a clue that something needs to be worked through.
Absolutely.
There's always more with me. It feels like, my God, I've been working on it for like 15 years with my coach. You'd think by this point that I would be in a bit. No, it just keeps going.
Because
So
life keeps going. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we keep expanding into the space that we create, with the more trauma or the more limiting beliefs that we clear, it creates more space. And then we expand into that space, but then we bump up against that boundary again, and we have to continually keep expanding that space. So the work never stops. And we just know that if there's something that isn't working in our lives, there is a reason for it. It is not a character defect. There is a reason. And if you're determined to find the answer, the underlying cause of it, then you can heal it, no matter what it is. I don't think that there's anything that can't be healed in our world today, especially if you're approaching it from a comprehensive perspective.
Absolutely.
Doing all of the right things for your physical body, doing all the right things for your spiritual body and your emotional body and your intellectual body. All of it has to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely. All works in synchronicity.
It totally does. If there's only one vessel, it's all contained in there. You have to pay attention to all of it.
That's right. Love it.
So I love how approachable that is. No equipment, no complicated prep, just you and your hands. So the fact that you can do this anywhere, even in the middle of a stressful moment, that makes it empowering. So Amy, where can our listeners go to dive deeper into tapping with you and with your app?
Well, anybody can always email me if they want to do individual work at amy@soarwithtapping.com. But if you want to start tapping on your own, please download the app. Go to the Apple or Google Play stores and search for Soar with Tapping. And there's over 160 different tapping scripts on, and we're always adding more content. Right now, we're working on a women's health, which includes menopause and perimenopausal issues and fertility and childbirth. Those three things. We're working on that section right now. And
would have been great when I was having my babies.
Yeah. So it's a really great resource for getting started on your own. There's a lot of educational videos in there for how to work through things, bigger topics like depression or anxiety or procrastination or addiction, those sort of things, because I want people to have a way to get there. I want them to have a map. Because if you go in and see like 160 different tapping scripts, it's like, where do I start? I don't even know. There's a million different things that are affecting me right now. Well, I'm going to tell you, you start here and then you move forward like this. So there's a lot of resources in there. There's a journaling aspect to it. So if you have a lot of, people undoubtedly get a lot of clarity once you go through a tapping script. Cynthia, you were talking about your feelings in particular around that I think would be great to document in that way. And there's also a goals section so that you can outline what your goals are. Because sometimes when I have a minute to do tapping, I'm like, what do I need to work on? Because I forget. But if I go back to my goals and I'm like, oh, that's right. Here's what I want, and here's where I left off in my order of how I need to do things. And so I'm going to start there, sort of thing. So hopefully it's a great resource for people that just want to try doing it on their own. I don't recommend that people work on the actual trauma by themselves. I think that definitely it's beneficial to work with a trained tapping professional, somebody that specializes in trauma, because that is really delicate and very important work. So if you have something like that you want to work through, whatever it is, please call me or, email me or something along those lines. But otherwise, feel free to use the app. That's a great place to start.
Awesome. So, so for tapping further for your app, you actually have a 50% discount right now.
You
So if they
do.
it's soarwithtapping.com/podcast special.
Podcast special. And unfortunately, it's just for iPhone users. Apparently, Google doesn't have the capability of offering like a discount like this. But for Apple users, they can go after they download the app. There's been some confusion about this, so I just want to clarify. After you download the app, it's going to say the annual subscription is like $88, something like that. But then when you get in the app, there's a section in my account that says redeem code. And so you go in there, and before your 14-day trial is up, before they charge you, you put in that code, and then it will lower the price down to $44 instead of $88.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Lorraine and Tracy, do you have any comments or questions for Amy before we go into our weekly challenge?
I just want to say a huge thank you. Oh, sorry.
That's
You were
okay, go ahead.
frozen. I don't know if you were frozen or I was frozen. One of us were frozen. That's why
No,
I didn't know what you were doing.
It
Okay,
might
you
just
go.
be me a little dumbfounded, just
Yeah.
looking frozen,
You go,
No,
Lorena.
I
You
was
go.
just trying to make sure that I read what I was going to say before I said it to make sure I was in the right spot. So I just want to thank you so much, Amy. This has been such an eye opener. Tapping was something that I've in my mind always been interested in, but just didn't know a lot about and just never got around to really looking into it any further. So this is fantastic. And I love that. I'm just going to continue to call it a triangle. Somehow that's just popping up in my mind, having that cognitive expression and the somatic being the nervous system and everything, and then the physical, the energy releasing and all that. And I just love how it all like works together. And with us being so emotional, we were discussing this earlier. Sometimes we kind of get stuck in our head, and then some of us are the opposite and we are very emotional, and love marrying the mind and the body and the energy and letting that flow. So if you could give them one small way to flip the script starting today about tapping, anyone who's hesitant or anyone that doesn't think this is for them, or someone who thinks that, I don't know, that there's some kind of block for using this type of methodology to help them, what would you say?
I would say it looks weird. It looks weird as hell. And sometimes like when I started tapping, I totally felt so stupid tapping on my body thinking, how is this going to come on? Are you serious? Sort of thing. And I just encourage you that I felt the same way. I encourage you to just try it. There's no harm in trying it. You can download the app for 14 days and do it in the privacy of a room by yourself so that nobody has to see you. And the reality is, if you engage with your emotions for literally 90 seconds, it doesn't take long. It starts to dissipate almost immediately. And so just give yourself the opportunity of engaging with something that you've avoided and, for the most part, kind of turned your back on. And especially women our age are discovering that our old coping mechanisms at this age are no longer working for us anymore. Like it just gets to the point where it becomes a roadblock instead of a help or a hindrance anymore. So now's the time. Now's the time to turn and look at what you've kind of turned your back on this whole time. I encourage you to do it. The reward on the other side is so great. It's so great. You just have to trust that, it's going to be there and just try it. It isn't for everybody. A lot of people don't want to engage with their emotions, and I get it because it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. But if you do value this type of work, you will see the benefit. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm all in. I am getting that app, and I love tapping, but again, I never knew if I was doing it right. So I never followed through with it. I wanted
Yeah.
to learn properly, and I am 100% going to do this every single day. I'm taking advantage of your 50% off. I'm so excited. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you,
good.
thank you for being here and sharing your wonderful wisdom with us. Love it.
Thank you so much for having me. I love you ladies. This was really
Oh,
fun.
well,
Really
thank you,
good.
Amy. Like
Nice.
I'm with Tracy. I'm all in because exactly what
Yeah.
you said. At our age as women, because our hormones are imbalanced, our cortisol is taking over.
Mm.
And even like my saying, I always say, like, give me a minute, just give me a minute. But even when I take a minute, I don't know how to process all that excess energy that's in there. So even like when we were doing the tapping, I actually stayed on a few spots longer than you did because I felt it releasing. I felt it. So in those moments, there's like, just give me a minute. Now doing the tapping, I can feel that excess energy going out because my cortisol's high. So even
Mm.
trying to process it myself,
Yeah.
you can't. You need that extra step, right? You need that extra. So thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Yes, yes. Put
Yes,
down
you're
the
so
glass of
welcome.
wine, start tapping.
There you go. It's a lot better for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, definitely. So this week,
Good.
our challenge is to identify one emotion or thought that's been nagging at you. Instead of pushing it away, pause and honor it. Then try Amy's simple tapping technique and see if you notice a shift. Even if you hide in your bedroom, like Amy said, try it. Like actually give it an honest to goodness try. And then let us know in our Facebook group. We love hearing about your breakthroughs. And I think we've done that. So thank you so much, Amy, for being here, sharing this incredible tool with us. And to all our listeners, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend who might need it. We will have Amy's contact in the show notes so you can reach out to her. So remember, in a world where you can be anything, be happy, be healthy, and be kind.
Thanks for tuning in to the Happy Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with anyone you think would benefit from the topics we're discussing. We'd love to hear from you. DM us with your thoughts, comments, or ideas for future episodes. And don't forget to check out the links in our bio if you'd like to connect with any of us or learn more about what we do. Until next time, remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, be happy, and be healthy.